This is the Underground, the home of the monsters, a very diverse race of people. After collecting myself from my death-defying fall, I walk down the hallway in front of me and come across the only living thing in sight, a talking flower named Flowey. Clearly seeing my pure confusion at what I'm looking at, this little guy offers to teach me the basics of how this world works. This world heavily revolves around your soul, the accumulation of your being. You need to grow it in strength, so you have to obtain LV, or love, for it. To demonstrate, Flowey offers to give me some in the form of tiny pellets. Oh. Wherever this place is, it's not safe. Before Flowey kills me, however, someone intervenes. This is Toriel, the caretaker of this place, the ruins. She checks around to see if any humans have fallen down so she can take them in and care for them. I'm not the first one to have fallen down here. I'm still reeling from the whiplash of events that has just occurred, but Toriel has a warm feeling to her. A safe feeling. I follow her through the catacombs, learning about the puzzles that exist in the underground, as well as other ways to interact with people that aren't violently with bullets. What that flower was trying to teach me was a very corrupt way of going about things. Eventually, she has to go run some errands and leaves me with a phone so I can call her if necessary. She told me to stay put, but something drives me forward. I wander around encountering some of the strange inhabitants of the underground and its various puzzles, while also being called by Toriel asking about butterscotch and cinnamon or something. I make my way to Toriel's house, where I'm shown a room prepared just for me. It's almost like she's done this before. I explored a little bit and read Toriel's diary, which is almost some sort of violation, before returning to my new bed and falling asleep. Once I woke up, however, I found a freshly baked butterscotch cinnamon pie waiting for me by the foot of my bed. I get up and go explore the house a little more, but I realize there isn't much to do, so I take a moment to think about what has happened. I fell into a hole, somehow didn't die, ended up in an unfamiliar world, almost died again talking to a flower, only to be rescued by a strange person I've never met, now acting like a mother to me and sleeping in a different home. Toriel gets up from her chair and starts walking away with me following her. Something about that question caused her to snap. She explains that she's heading towards the only exit to the rest of the underground, and possibly a way out of the underground. Home. She plans on destroying it to protect me from whatever exists outside the ruins. Blocking my only way out, I attempt to talk her out of what she's doing, but to no avail. I have to fight her. I don't want to hurt her, but something goes wrong. Thinking about what just happened, I walk through the gate to the rest of the underground. As I walk, I start hearing noises coming from behind me until someone makes an appearance. This is Sans the Skeleton, a guard currently looking out for any humans to capture for his brother Papyrus. Hey, wait, what?
No time for talk, human. Get behind this cavilli-shaped lamp.
This is just in time, luckily, because in comes Papyrus. Papyrus begins ranting to Sans about how he hasn't done anything to even try to capture a human, and it is revealed that Papyrus wants to capture one to gain recognition from something called the Royal Guard. The Royal Guard is a group of monsters dedicated to finding fallen humans and defending the underground, at least according to the wiki, and Papyrus wants to join it. He then goes off in the exact same direction he came, and it's explained to me by Sans that Papyrus has been searching for a human for a long time. His dream of joining the Royal Guard and Sans are kind of all he has, so Sans asks me something. He asks me to simply allow Papyrus to see me, which might just make his day. This makes me think. This could be a way to make something right. With that in the back of my mind, I follow after Papyrus, eventually catching up with him. He spots me, has a stroke, and runs off to set up some traps and try and capture me. After traversing through his many incredibly thought out puzzles, playing along as I went, I eventually come across a town called Snowdon, the home of Sans and Papyrus. I explore through the town a little bit, just taking in the uniqueness of the people before attempting to leave. This place doesn't seem so bad, but that's when I met with Papyrus again. This encounter is different though. I've slowly begun to bond with the skeleton throughout the puzzles, but that hasn't changed his goals. So what was a fun little game to me quickly becomes a battle for my freedom. What the fuck? Yes, you could flirt with a fucking skeleton in this game. This very quickly breaks Papyrus' massive trying to capture me and becomes a full-on plan to go on a date. I don't think he knows what a date even means, but he seems happy. And it is at this moment I learned the reason people love this game. So after turning blue and some other shenanigans, I gained not only his phone number, but an important piece of advice. If I really want to try getting out of the underground, the king of the monsters would be able to help me with no issue. So with a new goal in mind, I headed over to Papyrus' house to go on our date. And honestly, I don't know how to talk about how this went, so I'll simply show you. He then proceeded to friendzone me. After all that, I run into Sans again, who takes me to a bar called Grillby's. Sans is an interesting guy to say the least, but despite his messing with Papyrus, he really does have an admiration for the guy. Papyrus really is a cool dude to him, which is something I definitely see now. But some odd things were also mentioned as well. Upon leaving Grillby's, I fall upon a conversation between Papyrus and a member of the Royal Guard named Undyne. Undyne has learned of my existence and is angry at Papyrus for his failure to capture me, so she's going to look for me herself. I continue on forward after a close call with her hearing me in the bushes like it's Vietnam, and as I do, I start to notice new things lining the walls, ancient runes that tell a story. Long ago, humans and monsters lived in peace, but that wasn't something that would last. Humans are naturally stronger than monsters. It would take all of the monster's souls to match one human's. Their souls can even persist outside of the human body. However, if a monster obtains a human soul, they would become unimaginably strong. The story only gets interrupted when Undyne attacks. She chases me into some tall grass, and just when I think she's got me, the kid then runs off not knowing what they just did for me. The story continues. Humans greatly feared this potential for power monsters had. A monster's soul disappears after death. Humans can't obtain it unless it comes from a boss monster whose souls only briefly last, but that has never happened. Along my path, I run into the kid who unintentionally saved me, and they decide to tag along. This kid is some super fan of Undyne, glorifying the warrior to the point of worship. We come across a high ledge that neither of us can reach, and they offer to boost me up while they find a way around. The story continues yet again. Humans declared war on the monsters out of their fear and killed countless monsters, turning them into dust. I come across a bridge where Undyne appears again, cornering me and knocking me somewhere deeper into the underground. Clearly, I hit my head very hard, because the next thing I see is this thing before I run into Napstablook. He was in the ruins earlier. I forgot to mention him. He welcomes me to his home, and this is nice. I then light his snail on fire by accident and promptly decided to leave. The monsters eventually surrendered to the humans, who used their 7 greatest magicians to seal the monsters under Mount Ebo. Anyone can get in, but only those with a powerful enough soul can leave. The only way to break the barrier is with the power of 7 human souls. Trapped, the monsters made this place their home as best they could. The story ends bringing me back into the present. This time, Undyne is different. She speaks. Asgore, the king of the monsters, needs 7 human souls to become a god. She seems desperate. Then, out of nowhere, the kid who is walking with me just spawns out of thin air and gets dragged away by Undyne. That's twice now they've unintentionally saved me. I flee from the area to find one last rune on the wall. The one who has seen the surface will return, and the underground will go empty. The kid shows up again and wants to ask me something. They ask, am I a human? They were unaware until Undyne told me, so they now think we need to be enemies. They try to hate me, even asking if I could say something mean to them, but I refuse. Conflicted, they run away, only to trip and almost fall into the void. Unfortunately, Undyne appears yet again. I go rush to save the kid and pull them up from hanging with no arms somehow. Undyne continues forward, but the kid stops her. The kid stands up to her for me. Undyne walks away, and the kid also leaves, clearly not knowing what to do next. Oh, come on! Undyne isn't planning on letting me leave. She starts to go on to some sort of monologue explaining that Asgore already has 6 human souls. I'm the last one. She then immediately says forget that and launches herself at me. However, she doesn't know I have a secret technique up my sleeve. I'm chased into a place called the Hotlands, and there Undyne's armor causes her to overheat, leading to probably a heat stroke. Oh hey, conveniently placed water dispenser. Now, given some time to breathe, I think about all I've learned. Asgore is starting to not seem like such a friendly guy. Was Papyrus wrong? Has he actually killed other humans before? What other options do I really have? I continue on forward into a new building that belongs to someone named Alphys, Asgore's royal scientist. She's also a stalker. This entire time she's been watching me somehow, but because she understands my situation, she offers to help me get to Asgore's castle through a place called the Core. To prove she's trying to help, she upgrades my phone and plans to guide me through the Hotlands. One tiny problem, however. Mettaton is a robot created by Alphys that is out for human blood, but also happens to be a huge celebrity of the underground. So, after answering some pop quiz questions incredibly successfully, I wander through the Hotlands directly into a very dark room. Oh. This is Mettaton's cooking show where you gather ingredients in a certain time frame, and if you don't, he'll kill you. Oh no. Conveniently, Alphys' upgrade to my phone included a little something special. Ah yes, mass shifting. This jetpack helps me grab the ingredient I need before the time runs out and I leave unscathed. I again start to traverse through the Hotlands, ending up in another one of Mettaton's shows.
Sale couldn't defuse the bomb planted in the children's hospital.
This game requires me to defuse the bombs in a time before a bigger bomb goes off, and am I in a terrorist situation? I begin panicking trying to defuse the bombs in time and end up flailing around like a fish, leading to the timer hitting 0. However, Alphys, at the last possible second, managed to stop the bombs with hacker skills or something. I leave the set and once again am traversing through the Hotlands, but silently I'm thinking about who Asgore actually is and how I'm going to escape the underground. It all seems hopeless. Alphys takes note of my quietness and tells me something. Asgore isn't as bad a guy as he's been made out to be, but that isn't all. A human soul by itself does have enough strength to make it through the barrier. I might be able to go home. Desperate for some kind of hope, something to believe in, I believe Alphys and move on with a new determination. After a slight detour, I once again find myself in one of Mettaton's games. Oh goodness! After properly distracting me, he sends me through a trapdoor to a puzzle that Papyrus used when he was trying to capture me. And, fun fact, it is quite literally impossible. On top of that, once the timer hits 0, fire will close in on me. As I try to get through the puzzle, I realize that this might actually be the end. I try getting through over and over, but to no avail. The timer hits 0, and the fire closes in. It gets closer and closer until it stops. For a moment, nothing happens. And then Alphys calls, and somehow removes the fires with hacking skills once again. On top of that, I can actually fight Mettaton with the power of friendship and this gun Alphys installed on my phone somehow. Finally, someplace safe, I end up at the doors of a hotel where Sans is waiting for me. He offers to take me to a restaurant, and inside, Sans talks about my journey thus far. Before I leave, he wants to tell me a story involving himself. In the woods near Snowdon, there is a door. Sans uses this door to practice his knock-knock jokes. One day, a woman's voice responds. She loves them. Sans and this mystery woman befriend each other, with her even beginning to make her own knock-knock jokes. One day, she had a request. She asked Sans that if any human were to fall into the underground, that he'd protect them. If he wasn't told this, Or not. In the core, Alphys struggles with guiding me for some reason, and after many puzzles, I reach an elevator. I'm almost to Asgore. At the top awaits Mettaton, but something's different. He's different. Mettaton has a secret, one he decides to tell me. Alphys has been lying. Mettaton wasn't created by Alphys, nor is he a bloodthirsty robot. He was hired by Alphys to hunt me down so I would be put into scenarios she could save me from. She could be the hero. She's gained admiration for me because of her spying and wanted me to admire her. That explains every single coincidence and hesitation during Mettaton's games. I try to begin processing, but Mettaton isn't done. While he may not be a bloodthirsty robot, he's still going to kill me. He wants my soul to escape the underground. He wants to be a star on the surface, not just below it. He shuts the door I entered, which stops Alphys, who is once again going to try and save me. Alphys tries giving me a tip, not knowing what I know. She says to flip the switch on Mettaton's back. As much as I'm conflicted, I don't have much of a choice.
Hey, you're finally awake.
Now, the actual battle begins. The lights brighten, cameras turn on, and we're live. This is Mettaton's last hurrah before taking my soul and leaving the underground. And as such, he's going to use me to beat his viewer peak record in his farewell show. This battle is long and intense, with me essentially breakdancing to not die until I eventually start dealing damage with my gun. Shot after shot, I weaken him until he can no longer move. By that point, however, the viewers are the highest they've ever been. People are chanting Mettaton's name. They love him. Mettaton is the sole star of the underground. He can't just leave the people who made him who he is, so he stops fighting. He gives up the fight for my soul. Alphys bursts onto the scene only to find that the battle is over. Walking through the next corridor, Alphys knows that I'm aware of her lies. She tries breaking the tension but knows that she messed up, and decides to tell me one more thing before she leaves. A human soul was never strong enough to break through the barrier alone. It requires a monster's and a human's in the same body. I have to fight Asgore for his soul. He is a boss monster, so his soul lasts long enough for me to take it. However, he's also going after my soul. Not sure what's coming next, I step foot into an elevator leading to Asgore. Once it reaches the top, I step foot into what I assume is his house. It's almost the same as Toriel's. As I explore it, whispers of the past begin telling me a story. Once, there was a monster and a human. The human had fallen from the surface and was found by the prince of the monsters, Azrael. They befriended each other. However, the human fell ill and passed away. Before they did, however, they made one wish: to see the golden flowers of their original village. Determined, Azrael absorbed the human soul, allowing himself to pass through the barrier, bringing him to the village. The villagers, however, assumed that Azrael was the one who killed the human and attacked. Azrael had the power to completely wipe them all out, but he never used it. Instead, he fled back home, where he would succumb to his injuries. The hallway eventually leads to a completely separate structure, Judgment Hall, where I'll be judged on my actions so far before I'm able to see Asgore, the judge being none other than Sans himself. I continue past Sans into Asgore's room. It's a very beautiful room full of golden flowers. It has a warm atmosphere, and all of a sudden, Asgore feels different. However, we both know why we're here. This is the barrier, the thing separating the monsters from the surface. The fight is fierce, pushing both of us to our limits. Eventually, one of us falls. Asgore accepts his fate, but before I strike, I think. Everything I've been through. Killing won't fix anything. None of the people I've met so far would want any of this. I'd be betraying them and leaving them all behind. Asgore thanks me, and promises that he'll treat me like a child of his own as long as I live. Things won't be bad, but the moment is cut off. Flowey appears, finishing the weakened Asgore. He then absorbs the 6 human souls in Asgore's possession. Flowey's new form is unstoppable, essentially deleting the world. He completely removes my options. I can no longer fight, act, use items, or give mercy. Flowey also has the power to abuse save points, putting me into an infinite loop. As this one-sided fight continues, however, the souls that Flowey absorbs start acting on their own, healing me, and eventually giving me an opportunity to strike. And so I take it. Death after death, I chip away him until he's weak enough for the souls he absorbed to all strike together. I've supposedly made it through the barrier while the world ceased to exist, or something like that, with the other 6 human souls. Papyrus calls me to update me on things after my disappearance. The human souls have all vanished, destroying any hope the monsters had of seeing the surface. Undyne has taken the position of leader, who is now planning an all-out war on humanity once she gets through the barrier. Any humans who fall down will be killed on sight. Things aren't looking great for the underground.